What if I told you an angel once flew across kingdoms, pierced through demonic resistance, and delivered a message that would shape the course of history? This is not a legend, it's the heavenly mission of Gabriel, the messenger of God, in the book of Daniel. And trust me, you've never heard it like this. Welcome to Divine War Stories, where heavenly battles, angelic interventions, and the unseen war between light and darkness come alive like never before. Subscribe and join us on a journey beyond the veil of the natural. It was the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia. Daniel, now an old man, worn from years of exile and prophetic visions, stood by the great river Tigris. The sun shimmered across the water, but his heart was burdened. He had been fasting for 21 days. No meat, no wine, no luxurious oils. Just prayer. Just mourning. The heavens had been silent, and Daniel's soul was thirsty for a divine answer. Then, suddenly, the silence shattered. A heavenly figure, bright like lightning, with eyes blazing like fire and a voice like a multitude, appeared before him. This was no ordinary being. This was Gabriel, the same angel who once explained visions to him before. But this time, Gabriel's arrival would reveal a battle raging in the spirit realm, hidden from human eyes. Gabriel didn't come just with comfort or generic encouragement. He came with intel. Prophetic intelligence. He told Daniel, "From the moment you began to pray, your words were heard." But what happened next blew Daniel's mind. Gabriel had been sent immediately, but he didn't arrive until 21 days later. Why the delay? Gabriel revealed something shocking. He had been withstood by the Prince of Persia, a demonic force assigned over the empire. Gabriel, mighty as he was, had to battle his way through enemy territory in the unseen realm just to reach Daniel. And for 21 days, that fight raged in silence above the earth. Imagine that, prayers rising, angels sent, and a full-on celestial war igniting above the world, and no one below had any idea. But Daniel's persistence in prayer wasn't just spiritual discipline. It was a weapon. His faith fueled the battle in ways he couldn't see. Gabriel wasn't alone in this mission. Another angel, the Archangel Michael, came to assist. Michael, the warrior prince of Israel, engaged the Prince of Persia so that Gabriel could break through. This wasn't just a message delivery. This was a military operation in the heavens. One that mirrored the global tensions rising between Persia, Greece, and God's people on the ground. Gabriel's message was layered. He told Daniel about future kingdoms, rising and falling like waves on the ocean. But he also gave Daniel a glimpse behind the curtain. He spoke of a spiritual map, of princes, powers, and angelic guardians assigned to nations. The Prince of Greece was coming next, Gabriel said, another dark power who would stir conflict across the earth. This wasn't just prophecy. This was strategy. Heaven was disclosing its intelligence report, and Daniel was being trusted with secrets that reached beyond time itself. For Daniel, the weight of the vision was overwhelming. He collapsed. His strength left him. This wasn't just information. It was revelation. His body trembled from the glory, his spirit shaken by the cosmic reality. And Gabriel? He didn't just speak. He touched Daniel, reviving him. He strengthened the prophet with a touch, and Daniel stood, trembling, yes, but now aware. Fully aware. That he was part of a war larger than kings and empires. A war where his prayers were weapons, and his visions were intelligence briefings straight from the throne room of heaven. And that brings us to one of the most powerful truths hidden in this divine encounter. Angels are not just messengers. They are warriors. Guardians. Strategists. Gabriel came with a message, yes, but that message had to be fought for. Every word from God must travel through enemy territory. Every revelation faces resistance. Gabriel wasn't floating on clouds. He was slicing through spiritual darkness, confronting territorial spirits, and pushing through barriers of evil to reach one faithful man by a river. This entire story shakes our modern understanding of prayer and warfare. We often think silence from God means nothing's happening. But Gabriel's delay shows otherwise. Sometimes, the silence is the sound of swords clashing. Sometimes, the delay is the evidence of war. Daniel didn't stop praying, and because of that persistence, the mission succeeded. Gabriel broke through. And with him came not only revelation for Daniel's time, but prophesies that would point to the rise of Alexander the Great, the desecration of the temple, and even the timeline leading up to the Messiah. And what about Michael, the Archangel? His role was vital. He wasn't sent for Daniel. He was sent for Gabriel. The angelic chain of command was in full operation. Gabriel delivered. Michael defended. These aren't random heavenly appearances. This is coordinated warfare. Gabriel confirms that he will return to fight again once the message is delivered. And then he says something haunting: "No one supports me against these princes except Michael." It's as if the heavens are stretched thin, the war raging in layers, with only a few angels actively pushing back against the darkness over empires. So why was Daniel chosen? Why not a king or a priest? Because Daniel had favor. Not with men, but with heaven. Gabriel literally calls him greatly beloved. That phrase echoes from heaven's perspective. Daniel was trusted with intel, partnered with angels, and played a key role in the spiritual battles that would determine earthly outcomes. His humility, his consistency in prayer, and his hunger for God made him a lightning rod for revelation. And through him, entire ages would be foreseen, ages that would shake the world and prepare the way for the Messiah. As Gabriel stood before Daniel, having delivered his message and uncovered the spiritual war waged above, something deeper unfolded. Gabriel wasn't just informing, he was equipping. He told Daniel what was to come, not only for his people, but for the kingdoms of the world. Greece would rise. A fierce king would come, one with fierce features and dark schemes. He would desecrate the temple, abolish daily sacrifice, and exalt himself above all gods. This was a foretelling of Antiochus Epiphanes, a precursor to the future Antichrist. Gabriel's mission, then, wasn't just immediate, it was apocalyptic. He was building Daniel's faith not only for the moment but for the ages to come. Every prophetic layer in Gabriel's words echoed through time. His visit wasn't just for Daniel, it was for us. Because embedded in his revelation was a template, a timeline leading to the coming of the Anointed One, the Messiah. Gabriel gave Daniel the famous 70 weeks prophecy, a countdown unlike any other in Scripture. With mathematical precision, it pointed toward the arrival of Jesus Christ, centuries before Bethlehem ever saw that star. This is not vague mysticism. It's divine mathematics. Gabriel brought not just visions, but divine deadlines. Heaven, operating on its own clock, made it known to a man who had the ears to hear and the heart to carry it. What's striking about Gabriel's mission is the urgency. He wasn't leisurely visiting Daniel. He came with a divine urgency to reveal, warn, and prepare. He interrupted fasting. He broke the silence of 3 weeks. He opened the heavens. And then, with his task complete, he returned, not to rest, but to re-engage the battle. Back to the front lines. Back to Michael. Back to the fight over empires. The angelic realm doesn't linger. They operate with precision. With assignment. With timing. Every second counts in the divine calendar. And Gabriel's brief but explosive appearance proves just how close heaven is, even when it feels distant. But there's a more personal message buried in this grand cosmic tale. It's in Gabriel's opening words to Daniel: "Fear not." Daniel, beloved of heaven, was terrified when the angel appeared. His strength drained. His knees buckled. But the angel's first task wasn't information, it was comfort. That same Gabriel who stands in the presence of God didn't ignore Daniel's fear. He touched him, strengthened him, spoke peace over him. The mission wasn't just war, it was mercy. Heaven never forgets the human heart at the center of its plans. Even amid prophecy, battles, and revelations, the angel paused to lift a weary prophet. And that's what makes Gabriel's mission unforgettable. It wasn't just divine. It was deeply human. A man in exile, praying in sorrow, mourning his people, and heaven responded with fire. It shows us that no prayer goes unnoticed. No tear is wasted. Gabriel didn't just hear Daniel's prayer, he was dispatched by it. That's power. That's authority. The throne of God responds when a faithful servant refuses to give up, even in silence. The heavens shake when a soul remains on its knees. The delay wasn't denial. It was the sound of battle. So what does this mean for us today? It means your prayers matter. Your faith, even in silence, is heard in heaven. You may not see angels or hear trumpets, but every act of faith becomes fuel for heavenly action. Gabriel's mission reminds us that the spiritual realm is not far, it's here, active, alive. And yes, opposition exists. Dark princes still hover over cities and nations. But angels like Gabriel and warriors like Michael still stand their ground. And they respond not to pride or position, but to prayer, to humility, to hunger for God. Gabriel's mission also tears the veil between what we think is political and what's truly spiritual. Persia and Greece weren't just historical powers. They were spiritual battlegrounds. Every empire has a prince. Every nation is part of the chessboard. And yet, Daniel, one man, in exile, in mourning, shifted the momentum of the battle. How? With fasting. With intercession. With devotion. Heaven doesn't need 1,000 voices. Sometimes, it moves through one surrendered soul. And Gabriel's arrival proves just how much God can do through one person willing to stay faithful. As we step away from Daniel's story, we're left with a call. Not just to admire it, but to step into it. We are not spectators. We are participants in the war. The same battles rage today, invisible but intense. And just like Daniel, we are invited to partner with heaven. Through prayer. Through faith. Through obedience. Gabriel may never appear at your bedside, but make no mistake, the same angels still move. The war still rages. And the mission? It continues. Until every word of prophecy is fulfilled. Until every battle is won. Until every messenger returns home victorious. And if this stirred your spirit, don't let it stop here. There are more divine war stories waiting to be told. More angels on assignment. More heavenly strategies to uncover. So if you're ready to keep exploring the realm where heaven touches earth, where Gabriel speaks and Michael defends, then stick with us. Subscribe to Divine War Stories, and be part of the mission. The war isn't over. And your story, it might be next.